We're coming to you live for the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason and Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Monday morning. Football season in the books. Super Bowl 60 was last night, one of the least entertaining and least satisfying that I have ever seen. The whole week leading up to it, no juice. The game, there was barely any juice. The halftime show certainly wasn't for me. I'm not going to sit here and say that it was bad. It just wasn't for me. And this was just boring. And this season for us with the Jets and Giants had a lot of really interesting things going on. And I think that locally we turn the page and now focus on what these teams are going to be in 2026. But the season as a whole, you feel good for Sam in Seattle. You tip your cap how great they were in this football game. But this was a dud, total dud ending to the season out there in Santa Clara, which was unfortunate. But we roll on today, and we got maybe a championship team in our backyard in basketball. Hola, Boomer. ¿Cómo está?
Me llamo Pancho.
What's up, man? Good morning.
It was a dead Super Bowl for sure, and that's the way, like you just said, leading into it, there was basically not a lot of talk about it, not a lot of exciting about it, but we did know that it was going to be defensive in nature. Especially, when you have a young quarterback that takes a shot to his shoulder to be able to play the game. His accuracy is way off. He mentally got locked up in a number of spots. They had no answer for the blitzing of the Seattle Seahawks, and that's on Josh McDaniels. You got to get your quarterback ready for this. And then I too, just like you are. I mean, I'm happy as hell for Sam Darnold. There are a couple times I think early in that game he got away with a couple throws. That if he doesn't get away with, maybe the game is a little bit different, but that's the way the game is played. You want to be aggressive, and I thought New England's defense was really aggressive in the secondary. And the Patriots had no answer for the blitz packages that Mike McDonald were throwing at them. I mean, it was amazing to me that like a seasoned offensive coordinator would not come up with something. Now, he may have had something in that, in their offense to handle these blitzes, but Drake May just wasn't either seeing it or was completely mentally locked up in a fog, because there were a couple times where you could see the blitz was coming to the slot side and you could see it a mile away. Now, I could see it, but I'm sitting at home drinking a beer, watching a game. It's a little different than him. I understand that. But even a couple times, there was Kyle Williams was inside on one time. I think Steph Diggs was inside on one time, where they're coming off the line. They're looking for the ball and the ball is not coming. So if the ball's not being thrown, that's back on the quarterback. And then the quarterback ends up taking about 18 or 19 hits in yesterday's game. And it looked like he was just completely flummoxed, except for that one point in the fourth quarter where he makes a nice throw to Mac Collins, a nice throw to Hunter Henry. And that's about it. I mean, the turnovers led to 17 points for Seattle. And Seattle had a great defense. And I will say one thing about the Patriots. They may have had the softest strength of schedule out of anybody in the league, which they did. But when it came to the playoffs, they played a gauntlet of defenses, and that's one of the reasons why they only averaged 18 points in the postseason. So it was the whole thing. Just I don't know about you. I didn't watch any of the pregame. I was watching ice skating with my granddaughters.
Well, I was watching End of the Waste Management. Went to a playoff with Matsuyama and Chris Gotterup from Rutgers. That's what I was watching.
And Chris Gotterup ends up winning.
Yes,
so
that's
I saw
right.
He had that too. But I mean, I was sitting there watching, the freestyle skating by, our ice skating team, figure skating team that won the gold medal.
Are they happy to represent America?
Yeah, they seem to be happy to represent America. Not everybody is, but everybody should just pipe down and just do their sport and play for our country and respect the flag and respect everything that's going on.
What is it about kids and figure skating? Because that's like a thing.
Yeah.
My girls were into it too.
Yeah, my daughters loved it. I think it's the outfits. I think it's the watching some of these incredible skaters do these things. This Ilian Milanen for the United States is doing things that nobody's ever done before in ice skates.
Yeah.
And you watch it, you see it, and they're just mesmerized by it.
Yeah. I mean, it took us to, this is how bad the Super Bowl was. We didn't even make it to 6:05 before we got into the Olympics. And that's just the way that it was. It's just really, there wasn't much there. I mean, I don't want to, because if you're a Seahawks fan, you're thrilled. I mean, this team you'll remember for the rest of your life. And, what they did was absolutely amazing. You're talking about a guy in Mike McDonald who never had a head coaching job before and turns this thing around and has this unbelievable defense. If you're a Ravens fan, you're pissed off because he could have been the head coach for you guys. If you're a Vikings fan, you're probably annoyed, even though I am happy for Sam that he won this thing because he absolutely earned it. But, I mean, really, it was just for everybody else that didn't have a dog in the fight like Tom Brady. Then it was a terrible Super Bowl. As far as the halftime show goes, like, it just wasn't. The only thing I could think of when I was watching this was that the NFL knows it's got its core base of fans so by the balls that they could put on a halftime show where there's not a word of English, when nobody knows the songs, and just move on, and we're not going to go anywhere. Like, as far as like me, all the guys I grew up with, all the guys that hang out at Portly Villager, nobody listens to Bad Bunny. Nobody really is fluent in Spanish.
How the guys playing were asked about Bad Bunny.
They didn't know any of the songs either.
They didn't know any of the songs either. So
so it wasn't for me. I'm not saying it was a bad halftime show. It just wasn't for me. It just shows you, though, that the NFL, like, when it comes to their audience, they're so convinced that the core audience of football fans
we'll just digest this and call it a day. And
we're not going anywhere because we're so addicted to the game, and we'll be back, and something like this might annoy us, but they look at it as there's more pros than cons in trying to get new viewership in or new people into the game. That's why they're playing games all over the world, because they're trying to grow it globally.
Well, and that's why they put him out there, because of the amount of downloads that he has had this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had like 19 billion downloads or something.
Yeah, I mean, no one's arguing his success.
Or his popularity
or any of
worldwide.
that. It just, but it wasn't. So I can't sit here and be like, that was the worst halftime show I've ever seen. Well, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, for what he does, it's good. But, for someone like me who's watching football, does not speak Spanish and doesn't know his songs, it was just like, I didn't know what to do with it. I was just okay.
I wasn't interested. I mean, I tried. I literally legitimately wanted to try. And I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I watched basically 30 seconds of it, didn't understand it. And like I said, it's not my cup of tea. It's not your cup of tea, but somebody's cup of tea for sure. There you go. His cup of tea. Yes, and he was calling a game yesterday.
I wonder if he was telling that story in the booth.
No, I don't think he was. And by the way, I
sombrero all those years ago.
I felt bad for Chris and Mike, because that was a horrendous game to have to call.
Yeah.
And, Chris kept saying it, about how, Drake May just didn't have it. And, he's trying to be nice, didn't want to be too bad or too critical, but it is the Super Bowl. Both of these teams had 14-3 seasons. Both of these teams made it through the playoffs, pretty much to get there. And you're hoping for a great game. You're hoping for memorable performances, and unfortunately, it just wasn't. It's not a memorable Super Bowl. It's not going to be one of those Super Bowls 30 years from now. Guys sitting in these seats could be talking about, what do you think the greatest Super Bowl was? Super Bowl 60? No, I don't think so. And it was kind of like Super Bowl 50, which 10 years ago was out there, which is amazing to me, because I got a text message from somebody saying, hey, you remember this from 10 years ago? And it was out there in Santa Clara for Super Bowl 50. So time flies for sure. There's no question about it. But
yeah, I mean, there's a Super Bowl down in Atlanta. So we've got big memories of that, but that was not a great Super Bowl. That was the last, though. At least it has some historical context, and we'll see what happens with these two teams, and if one turns into a dynasty or whatever. But that was the last one. So that was the Sean McVay, Bill Belichick Super Bowl down in Atlanta. It was the last Tom Brady, Bill Belichick Super Bowl for the Patriots, but it was a really boring game. I mean, it was 17-7 or something like that. There was really only one big offensive play the entire game. The halftime show was Adam Levine. We took his shirt off. It wasn't anything memorable or any good. But personally,
well, you just remembered that. I didn't remember that.
But here's the reason why. It was the first Super Bowl I ever went to. It was the first Super Bowl in my whole life I had ever went to. So, and we spent that whole week in Atlanta, had a good time. But also, I'll never forget the aftermath of that Super Bowl, which was the Casamigos in the back of the plane with you and Phil Simms, and then you coming in and trying to sell Ford Expeditions. So, there's somebody out there who has a personal memory of this Super Bowl like I have of that one. But, I mean, ultimately, it was bad and it was boring. But for some people, it'll be memorable. For most of us, it will not.
I will say, what I felt like won the game, obviously, I felt like the commercials won the game.
Did you?
I thought there were some pretty decent commercials, especially the Duncan one with Tom Brady and Jennifer Aniston at the end.
Yeah.
Hey, like these nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I know what they were going for with that, and I appreciated that. I guess the only one that, and this, I think this was out before the Super Bowl, but the only one I thought that was somewhat clever was the Coca-Cola polar bears that were caught drinking the Pepsi, and they used that couple on the Coldplay screen. Like I thought that was kind of clever.
A lot of music in these ads this year.
Yeah, and there was that one that was it was for Coinbase.
That was crazy. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I think that's. But here's the thing: I remembered it because I'm sitting. It was just lyrics to a boy band song in like 80s or 90s text that was up on the screen and graphics, and I'm looking at it going, what the F is this? Waiting to see who it was.
What's the payoff at the end? Yeah.
And there really was no payoff. It just had Coinbase up there, and Gina's like, it's going to be for Advil because it was blue and yellow. And she's like, it's going to be for Advil. I'm like, I don't think Advil's buying time on a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The problem, and I don't want to like sit here because I'm conscious of I don't want to poo-poo everything that happened yesterday, but here I am doing that.
Well, the game is not memorable, so therefore everything else feels like it's flat.
Yeah. So, but the problem with and this is not a knock on the people who made the commercials this year. It's just that the way that we consume entertainment these days, it's very difficult for something, especially in a corporate atmosphere, to be unique and funny during a Super Bowl commercial break. Like, we just digest really funny things immediately these days, and like things are, fed to us and what are funny to us and our algorithm. And if something finds something funny, it gets shared. And then, the Super Bowl commercials, they put them out early now, digitally, you'll see them. And, of course, they're not going to be crossing the line in any way that might be controversial and then makes you either laugh because it's different or whatever. And it's just like, it's not like it used to be where people would wait an entire year to see something funny in a Super Bowl commercial because all they do is read newspapers and books and watch commercials on their soap operas. It's just different now. It's just the way it's just very hard to cut through in 2026 with a Super Bowl commercial.
The one thing I will say, the other winning part of this whole thing, at least from my perspective, was the beginning of the game where they, sung America the Beautiful, and our guy that we had never heard of before did an unbelievable job on the national anthem with the flyover and the flags. And
you don't know Charlie Puth?
Well, we were going over this last week.
I know who Charlie Puth is.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it turned out I really liked it. It was both songs were done well, and with the flyover and everything else and the flag out there. I mean, obviously pushing the patriotism aspect of it, and then you get the halftime, and it's everybody who believes themselves to be patriotic and everything is not going to like the halftime just because the guy doesn't speak in English. I don't know. It's like everybody's got something to say about everything. Now we have 4 hours to say what we want to say.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I could give you like the big strong, like that was the worst thing I ever saw. But I'm just being honest with you. It was it just wasn't entertaining. It wasn't the worst thing I ever saw. It was just disappointing and flat.
Yeah, but we all knew what the whole thing you're saying, or are you saying halftime?
The whole thing, everything about it. And as far as, I mean, I guess, with the Bad Bunny thing, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know if he was going to go super over the top political. There were rumors that he was going to come out wearing a dress or something. So none of that crazy stuff happened. And, the production value was fine. It just wasn't, just wasn't for me. And like I mentioned, I was the NFL, they are way more concerned, and I'm not blaming them, but they're way more concerned in trying to grab every single person in the world and expose them to NFL football than they are keeping their base because they know we're not going anywhere.
And by the way, don't forget, it's Jay-Z who picks the halftime act. And like I said, his international downloads are insane.
Yeah.
Probably the most downloaded artist, I would think, of 2025. So here we are in 2026. Of course, with all the downloads and the popularity in other areas is going to be one of the reasons why they're going to put them up there at halftime. So, what am I going to do? This didn't change my life. Did it change your life?
No, it didn't change my life. Well, I did win. I put $50 on plus 120 that Titi Mi Pregunto was going to be the first song. I got a tip on that.
Oh, you did?
No, I just made that.
Who gave you that tip?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. kidding. No, I did not. That was the only song that people so I saw that same video that you did where it was asking NFL players about Bad Bunny songs.
Yes.
And no one knew any of them, but I think it might have been Aaron Jones, the running back for the Vikings and the Packers back in the day, who gave an answer, and he was like, Tite mi pronguto, So and I was like, well, let me go listen to that, see if I'd actually heard that. I had not before. But I guess he did open with that, and somebody won money somewhere. But, hey, I gave you 27-13 on Friday, and
you
it was 29-13.
You did. You called it.
Yep. And I gave you Pearson Cootie top 10.
Yeah,
and he
I like
finished
it.
10.
Yes, he finished 10.
I'm hot.
Oh, man,
Watch out.
All right. I would say Mike Valenti actually said, I don't see the Patriots scoring more than 17 points, and this is going to be an under game. And he picked Seattle as well to cover. So yeah,
look at that.
You and both
great minds think alike. I gave you winner. I gave you cover. I gave you over under. Almost gave you correct score.
Almost right on the nuts.
Almost right on the nuts. 2-point difference. Of course, didn't win any Super Bowl boxes, even though I was close with the score. And I got run over yesterday as I go in and pick up some food at a local restaurant. The guy that I know who owns it, he's like, hey man, he's like, it was like 20 minutes before kickoff, and he's like, I got 8 boxes left in this.
And you had to buy the 8 boxes.
In this thing. Can you help me out? And I was like, I had to do it. He's like, I hate to hit you up, but I'm like, no, I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
What happens if a box isn't sold and that box wins?
It's a good question.
Then you got to give everybody their money back?
I don't know.
Has that ever happened?
I'm sure it has. And I'm sure that someone will call who's been running boxes for God knows how long, and they'll give you the protocol on that. I don't know. But
I would think you'd have to give
that.
everybody's money back if there's an open box that nobody bought, or if you're controlling the box, you could say you bought it.
That's true. Yeah, and you just take that money and bring it back, donate it to the guy who's running it. It's a nice little tip for you, But yeah, all those boxes that were bought, not a single one hit. But that's okay. Like I said, I got my my money, my plus 430 on Pearson Cootie top 10. So that took me through. That took me through the weekend, and that's all I needed.
And controversy at the Waste Management Open, by the way.
Oh, of course. They're always in. By the way, shout out to James Nicholas, too.
Yeah. On his Corn Ferry first tour.
Dr. Stephen Nicholas, our friend of the show's son, has worked with many local athletes. His son made a U.S. Open qualifier last year and won a Corn Ferry event yesterday. So someone in the family doing some winning.
And he won it in style with an eagle putt.
Yeah, what a dude.
Yeah.
What a dude, dog damage. James Nicholas. All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Jerry's going to give you some of the stuff from the Super Bowl last night and more in his first update